Area Board of School Directors. This is a live in-person meeting open to the public in accordance with the Sunshine Act. By participating in this meeting, you are consenting to the recording, retention, and future viewing of this meeting. Gary, would you please call the roll?
Stephen Yerger.
Here.
Nell Ressler.
Here.
Mary Brenneman. Here. Nick Lovell.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank the board.
Dr. Berryman, we don't have any public participation, so you are up.
Okay, so the first two things that we have this evening are the middle school electives that come up every year. There are two new electives that are for board approval this evening. The two new courses in the elective guide are history through trivia, and it's a way to make learning fun through using trivia to explore historical events, figures, periods of time, and pop culture, try to help with their critical thinking and some of their history knowledge. So that is one of the two new courses. The second new course is Gettysburg Fact and Fiction, and exploring fictional representations of the town of Gettysburg and what is actually, like what helped put Gettysburg on the map, and then how the Killer Angels, which is already word approved book, how they discuss historical events and how it relates to what really happened in the Battle of Gettysburg and the townspeople and everything of that nature. It will conclude with a trip to Gettysburg, to the National Park, and the Soldiers National Cemetery. So those are the two courses in the elective course guide that have not been printed yet. So that's the two changes. Questions on that?
Yes, I have a few.
Okay.
Under the Just Read one, how many students are actually attacking that? Because it sounds like it's just kind of some reading exercises and things like that. Wondering if we can maybe get a different elective in there in place of that one.
I can get numbers for you on that to
Okay.
see how many kids were signed up for that this year.
Okay.
It's really a course that's designed, so in the middle school they do healthy living, and it's part of their health curriculum. So it's an extension of that where they look at the different fields that they could go into from there. So to social work, allied health, counseling, that type of thing. So while the title of the course might be a little misleading, it's really about practices that they can use that is used in like the health field or counseling field. It's more of a career exploration.
Okay.
So if the description's misleading, that's something Mrs. Golden and I can work on.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we can change it then, because
Okay.
this is one we've gotten last year, and the description is all about the different reading exercises they can do. So maybe if we can change that and maybe change the synopsis of it, that would be helpful.
Okay.
The next one, in graphic novels. Wondering if we know the exact books that they will be looking at during this time.
So the books are in the man's library, so they're already board approved.
Okay.
One of the books they use is Smile, I Survived, drawing a blank on the other one, but I can get that to you. So
Okay.
those are the three main ones that get checked out. But they do have a range of choice that they're like really around the 8-year-old to 12-year-old frame for the books that they're using. So they do a book, and then they really go into like the creative writing aspect of it. So they design, illustrate, write their own graphic novel as part of the course.
Okay.
It could, yeah. So it could lead into other electives. So it could, lead into filmmaking, the graphics art department, the arts department, creative writing, which is a course at the high school as well. So it gives them, there's a path that they can go into other courses, even at the middle school and as they transition into that as well.
Okay. And then the last one was the do or die, death-defying mathematical challenges. Is one of these things change anything?
Sure.
That could be something done.
I will talk to Mrs. Gold about. So what was the course again?
The do or die, death-defying.
Okay. So we want them doing math, but just a better name
Yeah.
for the course.
Yeah.
Okay. We can work on that. Those are all very, very doable things we can work on. Any other questions on the middle school electives? Okay. We will get those worked on, and we'll try to get those ready before Friday so that they can be on the board agenda on Monday. Okay. The next thing that we have on our agenda is the high school course selection guide. There is a sheet for you that Carrie put at your place that just really highlights the changes throughout. There are a couple that I want to highlight for you, and I have some teachers here, so if you have questions, they can also help answer. So the courses that have been added this year is, all right, the first one we added was the English Comp 102, which is the second level of a course that was board approved last year, English Comp 101. So it is a college and a high school course. The kids receive credits through HAC, and it is taught by our staff who are approved by HAC to teach it. We have Mr. Peckhart here this evening who teaches 101, which next year will go to Mrs. Lawyer, and then Mr. Peckhart will be teaching 102. So mostly it would be seniors in that class. Any questions on that? And every text in there is going to be focusing on Bricklet and writing, composition and Bricklet. Any questions on that? Okay. The next course that I have that I would like to highlight is AP Human Geography. This is a course that really focuses on cultivating students' understanding about human geography, and they really focus on data and geographical analysis, and it's all about patterns. Like they're studying patterns throughout where people settle, the tools that they use in research, looking at the application. It's a really nice mix. It's like archaeology, sociology, history, geography, all of those social studies courses kind of rolled into one. It's a really good introductory AP course, especially for freshmen and sophomores to get into. And while it's obviously history heavy, it's a social studies, it's not as heavy as like your AP World History and your AP US History. So it's a nice introductory course. Okay. The next one is pre-algebra. This has come up, this may not shock you at all or surprise you in the number of math discussions that we've had here. But we are finding a need for pre-algebra at the high school because we do have a population of students who are arriving at the high school who just need that extra year of foundation of pre-algebra, algebraic skills, foundations, some of that critical thinking that they just need help developing before going into algebra. So we would ask for the pre-algebra course also to be included. We will be working with, Date and Courtney will be working together to identify the students who really need to be placed through that course. So we are finding a need for that. The next two courses, I have Mr. Lawrence here, should you have any questions for him. And these are exciting with the new cardio and weight center. Right now they have a course, fitness and strength, which they do cardio and strength building. So what they want to do is to split that really in half. So there will be a cardio focus and a strength training focus. So you'll see two different courses listed there for grades 10 through 12, because all of our ninth graders take the same PE. But the other two courses are a nice fit with the new facility and the equipment that we're looking at. Any questions for me or Mr. Lawrence?
Mr. Lawrence is just going to have to promise not to show off with too many weights.
Won't be a problem. Won't be a problem.
So what I hear, Dr. Betterman, is that the new fitness and strength training course would actually allow the teachers to personalize more for our students and really go deeper into the specific areas.
Yes, so they could take one or the other. I guess it's a half year, could they do both?
Yeah, they could do both. It actually also gives us an opportunity to have more students in there one time for what they're looking for.
And that course, even just the strength and fitness, or fitness and strength, grows every year. So they're pretty packed in there right now because we begged Dan and Dee Dee to take extra students knowing they were getting a larger facility come January. He's shaking his head because we didn't pack them in there this
Does
year.
this head towards, head towards development for like if you're going into like football or?
Right now, the program that we have, the platform program that we have, is more general fitness, general strength. However, for the first time, we started to partner with Coach Biddle, who has on our program has created his own football lifting program. That if kids want to join, there are some parameters that we have that fit into our class. As long as he meets those parameters, they'll be able to do their sports-specific workout during that time as well.
So this is foundational
Yes.
for the individual?
Yes.
And then from then, if you want to go out of team sports, it could spring off into that, it's foundational?
Yeah, it has really the program we use and the course itself is really limitless.
And was fitness and strength a half year?
It's a half year.
So now both of these will be.
They're still,
And
half
how
year.
many
They'll
times
run.
do you take them?
They'll run in conjunction with one another, so there'll be, there are two staff members, so we'll each, be assigned a group of students. It just allows us to be, there's only a finite number of people you can have safely and with value in the weight room with the equipment that we have, and a finite number that we have on the cardio side. When they're all together, we just don't know, we can take 25 kids, that's great, but if all 25 want to do, the weights, that starts to tax it a little bit. So if we can separate and say, we'll have 25 in the weight side, but we can also take another 20, 25 in we've now doubled the number of kids that we can take. We just can't take 50 and not know what they want to do. And end up with 40 of them that want to do, the weights, it's just not safe. Not for them.
And then last thing I want to note that we put in is the Hanover Auto Group. Not sure if this committee is aware or not, but we started partnering with them a few years ago. And our kids have to interview to be selected for that program. So we had 3 students go over last year. We have another 3 students who are there this year. So it's an apprenticeship. It doesn't necessarily need board approved, but we've now added it to the course selection guide so that the students know that it is an option that they can do. And they do a really nice job with it. They take from, I believe, like Conewago, our school, Biglerville, Hanover, Southwest. They only take 6 kids, and we've been pretty fortunate to get the number of kids into that program that we've gotten in. So just to note that we've now added that to the course selection guide as well. The other 2 are just name changes. They're not a real big deal, but we had 2 different statistic courses, and kids were getting confused as to which statistics course they were taking. So we've renamed them just regular statistics, which is just a basic introduction to the world of statistics. And then we also have the college statistics that Mr. Gantz teaches, which is a college level course looking at students who want to go into that world or know they're going to college and want to get statistics out of the world. So those are just main changes that we did. Dr. Becker, do you have any comments on any of the courses?
That used to be intro statistics and statistics, which I would have thought would be courses building on each other. So that was something that we came out. And again, we went through that, went with the school council. We worked through basically this entire thing, just to look at things, and that was something that popped up for example. Just making it a little more readable for parents and kids.
Any questions on the high school course selection? Anything for Dan or Mr. Peckler or?
Is the committee in agreement to move this forward to the full board with the changes to the middle school?
Yes.
And we will work on that and have it ready for Friday's agenda. Okay, so then moving into policy reviews, you should have a summary going through the same process that we started with our last committee, keeping in mind that we work off the base of PSBA policy and then really take a look at what the Littlestown policy says and is there anything that we want to make sure we have in ours that PSBA doesn't have in. All the policies this evening are fairly straightforward, but we'll just go down through them. So policy 201 is for when students are entering and enrolling at the age for kindergarten. One of the things we had to do for this policy really is to determine the age within the guidelines of the state. So our policy has that kids have to be 5 years old by August 31st, so we would keep that as a in the new policy. And if they are beginning in first grade, they need to be in like they have to be 6 by August 31st. So those are the guidelines we currently have in place. We would just plug those same dates and ages into PSBA format. And that is really the only change in that policy. Any comments or questions on that one? Policy 202 is eligibility of non-resident students. Some of these are updates to the law, keeping with, and this was in a policy last month too, so you'll see where some of the policies will overlap a little bit. Children of active duty, so we have an obligation to, if a military family moves in, to make sure we get them enrolled and that they have all the rights and access to our education that our students have. One of the other statements that we needed to put in through PSBA is students experiencing educational instability. And that really comes under Act 1. So if we have students who have moved around a lot or who were adjudicated or in foster care or anything like that, when they move in, we work with them to come up with a plan that will keep them on track for graduation and we're not unduly penalizing them for things that are beyond their control with moving in and out of foster care or adjudications or anything like that. So that was a change. And updating some language that when students enroll in school that we have all the proper documentation that we need when they're enrolling through our enrollment process and everything that the state says that we are allowed to ask for. There is one other thing in our policy that we want to make sure that we keep, and it is, so if we have a prospective resident, so let's say they bought property and they're building a house, they do have to move in the district within those 6 months. That's in our current policy, and we would carry that over to PSBA policy as well. So they have to show us all the documents that they, signed the mortgage or the, sale of the land and that they're building and paperwork of that nature. But we give 6 months where they live in another district, but knowing that they're going to be building so that the student doesn't have to move in the middle of the school year.
Middle or beginning, anytime?
Well, it has to be within 6 months.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
A year? Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, it could be any time. So let's say, There are some courses at the high school that are semester courses, so, and if they're on a block schedule somewhere else, if they bought land in their building, it might be to them, it makes the most sense to move their child into our district in January.
Yeah.
So as long as they have, mortgage papers that they can show us, or land sale, agreements that they're building, and that they'll be finished and completely moved into our district within those 6 months, then they could finish out.
So what happens if there's, because it's building,
Right,
if
with
there's
building.
issues and things like that?
So
Do we
it
make
is-
them leave and?
We don't, there are provisions in
Okay,
here, and
okay.
it says that it would then come back to the board. You can grant them an additional amount of time to stay, you can tell them they have to pay tuition, those types of things. So that's all in there. Okay?
And this is K through 12, right?
K to 12.
Okay.
Yeah. Immunizations and communicable diseases, there really wasn't any changes in there. We just had to select who was responsible for what. And I'm happy to say I did not give myself a single role in this. So for the designee to monitor immunizations would go under the school nurse, which makes the most sense. And then the superintendent or his designee is selected as somebody who would then follow through with making sure all of the healthcare documents are in order and that we're following the immunizations. Really nothing changed in that. And if we ran a early intervention or pre-K or anything of that, that they would also have to fall under that policy. Any questions on that? That really didn't have any changes, we just had to designate who was responsible for that. 2031 is HIV infections. Also, no changes in that, we just had to delegate responsibility for a screening team, which would be the superintendent or designee,